Muzzy were to just win Worlds, if it happens this weekend, that'd be great. And if it doesn't, I think he's a great example of someone that kept going despite that and had to fight for his success, because it didn't just immediately happen at his first tournament or in his first year of playing. He's been at this for multiple years now, showcasing consistency and what it takes to finally get that win.
So back in high school, I saw some YouTuber do a test of the game back when it was in beta, and it looked pretty interesting to me. So I decided to try out the game, and it was pretty fun. So I just played it around every single day. It was pretty casual at first. At the time, I think ESL held a bunch of tournaments, and the first tournament I played in, I think I actually played against Firebat, and I lost horribly. So didn't touch competitive Hearthstone for like a year. At around when Maz's Pinnacle 4 tournament was announced that it had open qualifiers, I decided to take part in that, and after playing the game so long, I guess I was pretty good at the game, and I ended up winning that tournament. And yeah, that's pretty much how it started competitively for me, I'd say.
I kind of met Muzzy through a friend of mine that I met in early 2016 at the America's Championship. I'm at Amsterdam, and talked with him for the weekend, kind of really got to know him, and he kind of had a friend group, and Muzzy was in that group, and so I started kind of playing with them, hanging out with them. Didn't really get to know Muzzy too much until later, but around like mid-2016, really started playing a lot with Muzzy and getting to know him as a person.
I think around then, when Blizzard started releasing rules about the World Championship and HCT and how to qualify, it sort of piqued an interest in me. I always was pretty good at ladder. I was able to get high ranks, and I saw that if I continuously got high ranks, I'd be able to play in these HCT tournaments. So at that point, I guess my main goal was just to amass as many points as I could and qualify for all the HCT tournaments and try to win from there. Originally, all my success really was just from ladder. I didn't really have any tournament success in HCT, but over time, as HCT rules developed, I was able to see the benefits. The money aspect isn't really a motivation for me. I guess it's more of just something that I really like doing, the competition aspect. I really like competing, and I guess I just sort of want to prove that I'm the best in Hearthstone and live up to my name of other people considering me to be one of the best in Hearthstone. So I guess that's really why I play the game. That's really what motivates me. If I win Worlds this year, I don't know if that'll satisfy me, considering I know I'd be considered to be the best this year, but I guess I would still want to play. It's not like at any point I'll stop playing.
Yeah, so in early 2016, Muzzy was actually, finishing on ladder really, really well, and obviously ended up being in #1 points, and then Frozen was the #2 right behind him, and those two guys ended up being who I kind of pitched to teams with. It ended up working out with Luminosity, and then we obviously got to play together a lot more.
The spring season, that's basically when I had my 10-0 run in the America's Championship to qualify for the Shanghai tournament. I guess when I was playing in the tournament, at no point did it felt like I was at a big advantage, and I guess at no point it felt like I was at a huge disadvantage either. I was sort of just playing in the tournament, and each switch round went by, it was just like another win, another win, another win.
Spring, I thought we all felt like pretty good about our decks and such. We all traveled out to Virginia together. Most of us kind of busted out early. Muzzy was 4-0, And, you know, we kind of just like, oh, well, maybe. And then he went 5-0, and it's like, oh, well, he's probably through the top 8. And then he won again, and then he won again. And you know, at the end of the day, he was 10-0, and that was his first tournament win. So that was really awesome to be there in person for that. And then Shanghai obviously didn't go great.
I didn't really prepare too much for the Shanghai tournament. I guess it had to do with the fact that I was leading in last call points at the time, and I just had the mindset that if I lose here, then I'll still probably qualify through last call anyways. I guess I didn't really try my best or prepare my best at all. It felt horrible when I lost. It had to go to deciders where I faced off against Nairia again. I'd beaten him once, so I knew it was a pretty close matchup. It was all dependent on what either of us banned. I ended up losing pretty badly. I was pretty devastated, but I knew there were more opportunities for me the rest of the year because, as I mentioned, I was leading in last call, so I just had to win out from there to qualify for the World Championship. Yeah, so after Shanghai, the only person who was really close to me in last call was Zalay, and I knew it would come down to whoever would get the tournament's win. Originally, since I had a lead on Zalay in points, I didn't know if he was going to DreamHack Montreal at all, but when I found out that he was going, I instantly booked my ticket because I knew that if he got a lead on points in me, it would be very hard to catch up, and I ended up winning that tournament, and that pretty much sealed the deal on my last call spot. I had worked really hard on ladder throughout the whole year, got many top 25, top 10 finishes, and I guess I got my edge in tournaments this year as well. Like I said, won the DreamHack Montreal, I top 8'd DreamHack Denver, I got a second place in another major, I top 8'd another major, so yeah, it was a pretty good year overall for me in terms of tournaments. I think I deserve the spot more than anyone. I put in the time, I put in the effort, I got all the ladder finishes. I have the skill for all the ladder finishes, and I have the skill in the tournament, so I definitely deserve the spot.
2 years in a row now, he's been #1 point earner in a very merit-based system. You know, I obviously get to see behind the scenes how much time and effort he's putting into it. Basically, all he does is, you know, play Hearthstone and try really hard to succeed at it. So it's good to see it finally pay off and get him a spot in Worlds. Coming into the tournament, I mean, we're definitely level-headed about Muzzy's chances. In terms of ranking his play up against the rest, I think a lot of people would put Muzzy in the top half or even the top fourth of players. So, you know, if it does come down to skill and decision making, I definitely, you know, I'd want my money on Muzzy over other players. So the lineup's good, the decks are good. So yeah, at this point, it's basically just a matter of seeing things through and playing the matches out.
Hailing from the United States, it's Muzzy. And his opponent from China, it's Jason Joe.
So coming in, when I saw my groups, the groups when they were revealed to me, I don't think that anyone else in my group had an advantage over me, so I felt pretty confident that I'd be able to make it out of groups. So my first match was against Jason Zhao. I practiced against his decks a whole bunch, and in practice we didn't drop a single set against him. So that definitely gave me a lot of confidence going into the match. I wasn't too worried, and then game day came. It went just like the book. 3-1 victory. It was close games, but I had an edge in my deck building and allowed me to get the win. The second match was against Samuel Sao. He's the only person in the tournament who brought Zoo. I felt slightly less favored than I was versus Jason. Samuel Sao, his plays that he made were a bit questionable against some of the other opponents. So in terms of play, I felt I had the skill edge, and I think I had the deck edge too, slightly. And then when the matches came, it was really close. Came to 2-2. The final game, I had my priest against his zoo. He had a pretty fortunate aggressive draw with the double doom guards, and I was just sort of stalling towards Anduin, and I think my mistakes led to the loss, and his draw panned out in a way where he was able to get the win. So then the match came against Jason Zhao this morning. The series overall, like I mentioned, I felt favored going in, ran a lot of sets against him, always came out on top, but today, with how the draws panned out, at the end of the day, Hearthstone's a card game, and decided that today wasn't my day.
Silence, there's Dustbreaker, but does it even matter at this point? It doesn't! Jason Show is going to be moving on, and Muzzy is going to be knocked out.
I am not too happy about how I placed. The goal going in was always to make it out of groups, because even though I got one win, the 2 losses meant that it's the same placing as last place in the tourney. So getting out of groups, that's the main goal. But just like in Shanghai, got the first win in my group and then lost 2 in a row. So nothing really much to do, but move on to the next tournament. So this tournament is the end of 2017 Hearthstone and beginning of 2018 Hearthstone. I look forward to competing in the future tour stops and future majors that are going to be happening this year. A lot more tournaments, a lot more monies being put into Hearthstone by Blizzard, and I definitely want to be a part of that. I definitely want Tempo Storm to be a part of that. So yeah, looking forward, just move on from this loss. Been unfortunate, and play in my future tournaments best I can, and hope to place well in those like I've done last year.